Thank you so much for being here. My name is Tan. I'm part of Sabil. Thank you for joining us for Kumi Now. We have our usual audience here today, and probably more will soon join later. But today our topic will be on Gaza, and we are joined by the Palestinian NGO network. So Mahmoud will be talking to us. And I just want to remind everyone to turn off your mics and that the session will be recorded, and we'll also have a Q&A portion. So if you have questions for Mahmoud, you can make sure to put it in the chat. But before Mahmoud begins, I would like to introduce him. So Mahmoud, he's a Palestinian refugee born in Gaza in 1968, and he's currently working as the National Advocacy Coordinator at the Palestinian NGO network in the Gaza office. Over the past years, Mr. Hamada worked in many international and national institutions and has experience in humanitarian and development work. He specializes in humanitarian assistance and resilience, and has technical skills in the sectors of development, relief, community accountability, and preparing and managing programs, projects, and policies related to development and humanitarian work. I feel like he might have dropped off again. So we might have to wait a little bit for him to come back. Let's see. I think he has okay, Mahmoud, can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Connection.
You can begin at any point. So feel free to speak.
Can I start sharing?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Uh,
You need to share your screen.
could you please give me a permission to say?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this study has been commissioned by Bingo and the United Nations Development Program to assess the organizations in Gaza after starting of the genocidal war since October 7th. And in fact, this study has been done during March, April, and presented in May. So the results which I am going to present now, some of them, the figures has been actually multiplied several times. So if you need further information later, we can discuss. We have an updated figures, and we can show later in the discussion. The study, just to give you a brief about Gaza, first of all, you already know that Gaza is a house for 2.3 million persons. 80% of them, or 75% of them, are refugees already. 80% of the total population of Gaza are dependent on international humanitarian aid. And Gaza has actually faced several attacks and aggression since many years. And since October 7, we have faced huge damage in life, infrastructure, displacement, and the civil society organizations have also faced a lot of destruction, a lot of difficulties to provide services. Number of civil society in Gaza, I don't want to take a long of time, but historically, the civil society organization in Gaza has been, in Palestine in general, has been the core provider for services during the occupation, prior the occupation, and after the establishment of the Palestinian Authority in 1993. So the civil society organization were providing health services, education services, social protection services, and it has been very functional and proved to provide the Palestinian who are in need with the basic services. After 2007, with the Palestinian political split between Gaza and the West Bank, also the Palestinian civil society has been affected severely with this division, but continues to provide services with the challenges they have. And during the absence of central government to support Palestinian citizens, the civil society organization continue to deliver services to the education, health, water and sanitation, and also food security to the affected communities. The number of civil society organization, the registered one in Gaza, almost 980 out of almost 4,000 NGOs registered in the Palestinian society, in the Palestinian Ministry of Interior. So these 980 organizations, not of them are active, but 10% to 15% from them are really active and provide services to the communities. We will go through the main mandates for the civil society organization, filling the gaps in the absence of service provision by the actors and the government. We'll go into the study itself. We have used mixed methodologies, including focus group discussions, key informant interviews, and also online survey. And since the organizations were not active and it was very hard to reach them, and there was very and great difficulties connected to the internet and communication, we have a field surveyor who were able to communicate and reach the representative from civil society organization to proceed with the surveys. The assessment itself has two main parts. First of all, the first one was focusing on the damage of the assets of the organization structures, and the second aspect was on discussing and study the functionality aspects of the organization. So the the infrastructure was studying the building, the equipment, special equipment that organization use, transportation means, what they have kind of hard assets and buildings. The functionality addressed the governance, human resources, financial management, procurement, programming, communication, safety and security of the staff and assets, monitoring and evaluation, learning, accountability, and access to information and data. The data collection was done through conducting 4 focus group discussions with 89 representatives from the local society organizations and 10 key informant interviews with the representatives from civil society organization and from the humanitarian cluster coordinators within the humanitarian country team, And we have the online surveys. The online survey has been communicated via email and other list or through WhatsApp and email. Almost reached to more, it was disseminated to more than 800 organizations, but unfortunately we received only 100 response. And after verification and defining the data, we ended up with 87 valid responses. The limitation was that there was difficulty in reaching a representative from the civil society organization due to the war, of course, safety and security, lack of communications, limited response also due to the lack of internet and disconnection of the internet. There was also for many challenges with conducting the interviews because there was no place to conduct the interviews. In fact, even the interviews and the meetings were conducted before Rafah invasion in May. But it was very hard to convene and to have a suitable place to convene the meetings. When we just review the questionnaire was done to study sectors including the health and wash, education, social protection, agriculture and food security, human rights, democracy, governance, and rule of law, and youth and women and gender. But we have only received two responses from the human rights and democracy field. So this was not considered. So we ended up with only four sectors, which health and wash, food security and agriculture, and education, and finally gender and social protection. So this means main four categories were discussed, and the organizations who has been responded to the survey were from these four categories. The numbers of these categories are 41 organizations working on the gender and social protection, 16 working in health, 14 working in education, and 16 working in food security and agriculture. Now we are going to the findings of the survey. The damage in office and facilities. 75% of the organization who were subject to the answer, this was during up to the end of almost end of April. 75% actually has faced damage to their premises and also to their equipment. But now, after Rafah incursions, the percentage of damages to the organizations, after we made some updates and communication with some of the organizations, the damages reached to 84% of these organizations. Out of them, 50% of the organization actually faced total destruction for their premises or severe destruction that cannot be repaired. So half of the organization have completely their structural damages, including the equipment and special equipment, transportation, information technology, computers, communication tools, and everything has been lost and damaged. 40 organizations actually reported that they have partial damage in their offices out of the 87, but some of them were fortunate that 5 only have actually no damage occurred to their offices and equipment. In terms of the cost of damage, the total cost for damage for this organization, the 87 one who has been responded, according to the sectors, we have a classification for them, reach $65 million with the equipment and structures. But in fact, this number has, as I mentioned earlier, is just only up to April 2024. So it has been past now almost more than 7 months. And Rafah has been attacked, and there has been huge demolition, and attacks continues and go on in the whole area of Gaza Strip. We are going to see how this organization have been restructured to continue their work. When we have the data collection, we have received information that almost 85 is still active. 85% of the organization still active, and some of them have opened offices. 53% who has been displaced from Gaza and the north of Gaza to the middle area and south, including Khan Yunis and Rafah and the middle area. 53% of the organization had opened new offices in order to proceed provision of service to the affected communities. And in terms of changes of the activities, like 1/3 of the organization has changed their activities to be able to respond to the needs. Some of them, another 1/3 of these respondents had changed partially the activities, and the other 1/3 had not changed their activities because they have already their mandate is kind of service provision, so they don't have to change their mandate. So the total organizations has contribute to the relief services for the immediate to respond and cover the immediate needs of the organization, of the population. We are going to discuss the functionality of the organizations. As we mentioned earlier, the aspects of the functionalities. First aspect was the governance. As you may know that many organizations have already left, some of the staff already left Gaza, some of staff has been injured or murdered by the attacks from the Israeli occupation forces, from the bombardment from air, sea, and land. So the governance aspect has been affected. Fortunately, during our study and meetings, we find that the organization had overcome the challenges related to the governance issues, and more than 80% of the organizations has been were able to secure good governance, because you know the governance aspect is very important because it's connected with transparency, connected with communication with the communities and communication with affected population, and also the trust with the community and donors as well. When in terms of human resources losses in the organization, There has been some organization have losses in the board of directors, some have losses in the staff, some has losses in the volunteers. Lately, we from the local and national organization, we have received reports for about 240 employees and board members has been killed as a result of the Israeli attacks. So this number is only from the local organization, not from the other even Palestinian nationals who are working with the international or UN organization. We studied here the staff who have been travel or forced to evacuate, some of them to Egypt. Also from the board of directors, this was in terms of governance was somehow good because they manage actually to be able to access donors, to have a good level of communications with their staff in the field, and also with to mobilize resources easier than in Gaza. In Gaza, the communication was very hard. The transportation was completely blocked out. Safety and security was really a matter of concern. The organizations affected by two levels. By the board of directors and the employees. So there has been different layers of the loss of the individuals. For the staff needs, we have also discussed the staff needs, where the organization was able actually to provide their staff with the needs in terms of food, shelter, basic needs, in terms of transportations, in terms of securing their salaries. So it was only 38% of the organizations were able to secure the shelter needs for their staff during the war. This was alarming statistic indicates that the vulnerability of the civil society organization personnel was not adequate because they are not receiving the proper support they should receive. Only 43 of the respondents organization reported that they were able to secure food and water needs for their staff during the war. But when we talk about this percentage, this was before Rafah incursion in beginning of May. And also in terms of non-food items, only 37% of the organization were able to secure non-food items and other materials for their staff, like hygiene kits, clothing, mattresses, and other stuff. But total, in general, 41% of the organization were not able to provide, for example, transportation and other needs. In terms of human resources, we already mentioned about the needs. For the protection and security, it's also was a major concern, since the organization themselves was not able to protect the organization itself, or to provide protection for and safety for their staff. So 47 civil society organizations reported being able to provide protection for their staff while working. So this is also alarming indicators and underscores the risks faced by aid workers and the humanitarian personnel who dedicate their lives to providing assistance in this kind of very dangerous and unstable environment. Also, the ability to protect facilities and resources was another critical aspect for the organization and their operation. Only 30% of the organization indicates that they could safeguard their facilities and resources during the wartime, but the other were not able to have such kind of protection. Furthermore, 43% of the organization indicated they could provide some form of a protection for the beneficiaries, which means that they can provide some kind of a protection to the beneficiaries. Fortunately, but this has been also other complicated issue since the most of the shelters, including schools and other informal shelter, has been targeted by Israeli Air Force with rockets and bombs, and we have seen a huge number of casualties being reported from these attacks. We discussed also the financial resources aspects within the functionality of the organizations. 55 organizations were able to pay their staff salaries, and survey also highlighted that 74% of the CSOs, they were able to implement financial measures and control measures and restrictions, while only 49% of the organization were able to disperse and deposit funds from their bank accounts. And this has been completely blocked out after Rafah incursions, because Rafah banks has been completely closed. Khan Younis Bank, the banks in Khan Younis were also closed. Then the only functioning bank was the Bank of Palestine in the middle area. So organizations were not able actually to do financial transactions, except the ones who have been located in the middle area of Deir al-Balah. For the procurement aspects, 69% reported that they were able to implement control over the supplies, and indicating that degree of oversight and efficiency, where 61% expressed confidence in their operation and in their ability to protect and secure supplies. However, and this was good, but the supply chain security measures was not protected good due to the lack of security situation on the ground. Furthermore, 67 of the CSO reported that their ability to store supplies, suggesting high challenges related with the storage facilities and inventory management practices. So it was not easy actually to procure goods and store them safely. Moving to the program management. With the program management, we find out that majority of the organization, 82%, reported that they were able to adopt and develop emergency intervention plans and projects, and 84% of them demonstrated good and strong understanding of the target population needs. So they were able to accurately identify the specific requirements and the level of vulnerabilities of the population and prepare their program to respond to those needs. 64% of the organization had reported they were able to implement their emergency intervention and raise funds for their interventions. The general from the whole program management shows that most of the aspects of the program management were good, except where the organization was able to raise funds for its interventions. It was the lowest aspect because when we talk about this one, it's because some donors has stopped without notice their funding. Some even ask civil society organization not to spend any money from their current projects, which has been already funded before. So this actually was a very severe restriction on the organizations to proceed with raising funds for their programs and activities. Fortunately, this aspect has changed after May because the organization became more stable. They have collected their efforts and power again, and they started good level of communication with donors and other actors. In terms of coordination and communication, it was very hard to communicate between the level of the organization itself, between the board of directors, between the administration level and with the programs, but totally like 76% reported that they were able to communicate effectively between the level of the organizations. Furthermore, 70% reported also they was able to communicate and coordinate between their offices and the branches. Some organizations have the decision-making facilities in the West Bank. This was good in terms of they easily can make decisions from remote and from distance, from somehow safe environment. But in general, challenges existed with the organizations to convene and to have agree on interventions and to do meetings with the board to define what they need to do, how to proceed with the programs and activities. For the monitoring, evaluation, and accountability and learning aspects, it's almost the same. Almost 72% of the organizations surveyed indicated that they proceeded with their functionality of the monitoring and evaluation, which shows good, because this indicates that they have clear and good communication with the affected population, and means that transparency and data collected shows great and good and sound data. This even was a challenge because it required additional costs to proceed with checking checking the needs and that the beneficiaries received the proper services, and also it's about complaint mechanism, whether it has been in place or not, and people are able to complain about not receiving or not receiving good services. But in general, this aspect was good and shows that the programming level and meal practices were good in general. For the data access, the data access was somehow challenges for a lot of organizations in terms of they don't have backup data, and also they are not, even if some of them, those who have backup data, they were not able to reach the backup data to retrieve it. So this was another challenge with the organization to proceed with their activities and the programs. But generally 72% of the surveyed organization were able to monitor and evaluate their program, and Many of them were able to recover data. The main issue with the data was about these organizations who have a kind of personal information and personal data about, for example, victims of violence, and this kind of data is supposed to be private and not to be shared. So they were not able to retrieve it. Some other organizations were not able to retrieve the data for the beneficiaries. So the service provision for them was requiring a huge new work and workload to rebuild a new database, since they have been moved also from their original locations to another locations. Moving to the recommendations, as we it has been divided into levels to have a recommendation for specific sectors, and also recommendations for the specific actors. But the general recommendations, it's been imperative to put an immediate end to the persistent attacks on the civil society and aid workers, civilians and civilian structures must be afforded the protections they rightfully deserve. Second, addressing the root causes of the crisis, such as the ongoing blockade and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, is crucial for finding lasting solutions. Restoring and strengthening the local civil society organization is a priority to boost life-saving recovery efforts. For the also needs of the recommendations for the civil society to restore access to data, update beneficiaries' data, improve the coordination and sharing information, focus on recovery and resilience building, investment in long-term solutions, document the lesson learned to inform future emergency preparedness and response efforts. Recommendation to donors, due to the nature and scale of the war in Gaza, restrictions on funding need to be relaxed, with more flexibility offered to the local civil society organizations, especially those who were impacted by the war in terms of their facilities, in terms of infrastructure, buildings, offices, staff also. A local civil society organization to be prioritized with benefit from recovery and rehabilitation grants and funding allocations related to construction and capacity building should be increased. Donors are encouraged to initiate long-term relations with the local civil society organizations to invest in their capacities and form a safety network to ensure their continuation and sustainability. We have another recommendation to the international organizations who are working, and international and UN organizations. International organizations require to relax their requirements in terms of reporting and meal. On the other hand, NGOs are invited to invest more in building local capacities and enhancing the civil society organization to attract and retrain talents. When we talk about this, because what is happening, that national organizations are building their staff capacities, having them for long term, and what is going now on the ground, that international organization coming to Gaza and offer high salaries and benefits, so local organization staff start to move from their organization to the international organizations. So this should be also addressed with the international organization. Second is to promote localization and civil society organization resilience through consulting with the local and national civil society organization, listening to their needs and requirements, NGOs also required to increase the cost sharing and administrative cost to dedicated local civil society organizations. CSO's current state of funding calls upon international organizations to step back and allow more space for local organizations to compete for the available funding opportunities. Support with expertise from NGOs required in this regard. Donors and UN agencies and international organizations recommended to promote local networks and consortiums to encourage fruitful coordination mechanisms and secure and sound sharing of information. A recommendation to the civil society organizations, CSOs need to develop field emergency plan based on the potential of 4 scenarios and also to implement these plans immediately and effectively when needed. CSOs can string cooperation with local partners and government institutions to ensure effective distribution of essential services and programs. Also, organizations must start planning for the future and develop sustainable strategies to provide services in the long term. Here we are having the specific recommendation for each sector. For the health sector, protection of health workers, especially for the ones who are working in the field and dealing with victims and injured and dead persons, this of assistance of those ones is at most importance. This also indicates providing full protection for health facilities to receive patients and injured people. Prioritize the mental health and psychosocial support services for both health care workers and also the affected population. The war has caused widespread trauma, and addressing mental health needs is crucial for recovery. Advocate for increased funding and resources to rebuild damaged health infrastructures, procure essential medical supplies, and address the shortages of healthcare workers. Finally, invest in capacity building and training for care workers to enhance their skills in emergency response, trauma care, and HPSS. For the food security sector, secure the necessary resources and materials for the agriculture sector, including seeds, fertilizers, and equipment during the first few months after the war to ensure a quick recovery for the agriculture sector, since it's the main food supply. Second is there's a need for the civil society organization to invest in provide immediate support to farmers and fishermen to restore their livelihood and to start their activities to be able to produce food. Infrastructure repair, there's need to assess and repair damage to the infrastructure, and this is critical to food supply chain, including irrigation systems, storage facilities, market, and transportation networks. Also needs to invest for the sustainable agriculture and climate smart agriculture practices such as drought resistance crops, water efficient irrigation systems, and integrated pest management control. Value chain development, strengthening the entire food value chain by investing in post-harvest, handling, storage, transportation, and marketing infrastructure. Food system strengthening by support local food production and processing initiatives, including the cooperatives, farmers markets, and small-scale food processing enterprises. Safety nets, social safety nets, establish and strengthen social safety nets programs such as food stamps or cash transfers to protect vulnerable households from future shocks. For the education sector, prioritize the reconstruction of and rehabilitation of the damaged buildings. I didn't mention that now the level of destruction of schools reached 92% of schools actually attacked and targeted. Integrate the psychosocial support into the school curriculum and extracurricular activities. Invest in development and implementation of innovative alternative learning solutions such as distance learning initiatives. Provide training and support to teachers in utilizing alternative learning methods. For the gender and social protection sector, strengthening coordination and collaboration between civil society organizations and all actors, as well as with the government agencies and international organizations to ensure a comprehensive and coordinated response to the needs of women and girls. Build capacity and resilience to the civil society organization to invest in building their capacities and resilience to ensure that they can contribute to provide essential services to women and girls, and in the face of the ongoing challenges, especially with increasing levels of violence due to the war and the displacement. This includes providing training to the staff, developing sustainable funding mechanism and strengthening organizational structures. Finally, one of the recommendations is to collect and analyze data. CSOs should collect and analyze data on the needs of women and girls, as well as the impact on their interventions to inform their programming and advocacy efforts. Thank you very much, and I think I was trying to be short, but the study itself is very large, and I can receive your question now. Thanks, Tan.
Thank you, Mahmoud. And it seems like civil society organizations are facing challenges that are getting harder every day. So I know you said the figures are a bit, it changed now. It's probably increased or been worse. But one question I had, just a little bit away from the report, is also, could you tell us a little bit about the work also of Palestinian NGO network? And you have the report and you're doing research for the report, but what other activities are you also doing to help civil society or other things
Yes.
related? Yeah.
Yeah, we have, as you know, we as Palestinian non-governmental organization network is an umbrella organization. We have almost 150 members in the West Bank and Gaza. In Gaza, we have 71 members. But we are not limited services just to our members. We are supporting whatever organizations that are active in Gaza and West Bank to provide services to the affected population. During the war, we continued our work to facilitate access for the local organization to the international coordination mechanism, so they can be able to know what's going on, what are the aid structures there, and they can able to join and continue to support the aid recovery and support the communities. Second thing, we have, with the support of UNDP, open a workstation in the middle area governorate, where we offer the space, internet connection, electricity supply for the organization who can't have internet or electricity access, so they can proceed to work from our facility in Deir al-Balah. Last thing, but not limited, we have opened two one-stop shop citizen service shops. So these centers, we say citizen service centers, one in Deir al-Balah and one in Khan Yunis, have kind of different corners of services, including higher education, service, legal aid, support to farmers and fishermen, support to mental health, support to women who face violence. So we have established these two centers to provide citizens with the services they need, so they can go to these services centers and ask for help, so they can provide. And this help is not provided by Bingo. Bingo offered actually the space, the internet, power supply, and the other national organizations and actors have started to voluntarily provide such services. So we offer them the place, we offer them with the computer, laptop, and services, and also the hospitality, the structure, the furniture. They offer the services. So this just in short the current services. In terms of studies and other things, we are actively engaged with international arenas for the country-based pool fund to provide information for the local and international organization about opportunities of funding, also promote the localization aspects and other technical supports, and also trying to facilitate the linkages between the civil society organization and international organization, including OCHA, NGOs, and the other UN humanitarian clusters who are active in responding to the crisis now.
Thank you, Mahmoud, for elaborating on that. And I think, Francis, you raised your hand.
Yes, yes, I just want to say how amazing it is, how much work the civil society organizations have been able to accomplish in spite of the terrible devastation that has been, that they've been living under. It's just been amazing to see how much you've been able to accomplish in the face of all of this destruction. And I so appreciate your sharing all this with us. I'm just really amazed at this work. Just thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Most welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, related to that, Randy in the chat has asked if the report is available to the public. And then also, he also has a comment that says it has been estimated to take 85 years to rebuild Gaza at current funding levels. And so he was just wondering your comments and opinion on that, and whether that's true. What would it take for Gaza to be rebuilt?
Yeah, building Gaza, it would require really huge efforts from local and international community. The level of destruction is unbelievable, devastating, and really, when we talk about 85% of the total building of Gaza are now irreparable, so they cannot be repaired. With the debris removal issues, it's really challenges, because when we talk about more than 41 million tons of rubble need to be removed, it's really a huge quantities. And not just only the removal itself, but there is the challenges with the debris itself, because it has contagious hazardous materials, including unexploded ordnances, explosive remnant of war. There are body remains of the people who have not been yet removed from the building, who has been damaged. There also people belongings. Some people already, like, they have their money savings, they have still in the demolished ground. So this is really huge. It needs heavy machinery to be imported from abroad. It needs international support. It needs new techniques to be utilized. And of course, 5 years is long period, but if a collective efforts has been agreed upon. Palestinians in Gaza will never stop, and they will do whatever they can. As you can see now, how they live within their already destroyed homes. Many already just go back when the Israeli troops withdraw from the areas, and they just repair their homes with whatever and start again. So they will start to do with their own hands, but I guess it would require yani, at least 3 years minimum. With of course, with the support of the international communities and overseas companies. Cannot be done with the local, because the local, like contractors, the companies, the infrastructure, all damage, you know. So even the technicians we relied on to rebuild Gaza, most of them have lost the talents, most of them has been injured, some of them has been killed. So it's really challenging, yeah, and it needs external assistance.
Thank you for that, Mahmoud. We're approaching the near end of our meeting, so if anyone else has last questions, just put it in the chat. But there's one question here related to the findings of the report. Do you find that the international NGOs and donors are open to your suggestions to ensure the inclusion of local NGOs? Because I remember one of the findings in the report was suggesting that international NGOs take a step back and kind of allow local NGOs to thrive. Have you talked to any of the international NGOs about these findings?
This is in our like agenda for not just only during the war. This has been in our agenda for like 4 or 5 years ago, and we managed during the 2 years ago with the country-based pool fund. All UN organizations were blocked from applying for grants from the country-based pool fund. So this was one success. However, now with the size of the crisis, all organization, local, international, who has due diligence and who can apply, we will apply. So, but in general, we have communicated this, and we will continue to communicate this with all actors, with all international organizations, and we still have this in our agenda, and we continue to do it. And we have support from international organization also to proceed with that. So many have have good understanding of the benefit of the localization and benefit of the funding to be fair and equal to the local society, because it's cheaper actually to support the local organization. It's also more efficient and reach to the proper population fast enough, timely manner, and also to the higher number of affected community.
Thank you. And if there's any last comments you want to leave our audience in terms of actions that we can take to support the findings of the report, please let us know.
I have just the tons of rubbles now is 41 million tons. Just to answer one question in the chat. I think we all need international efforts to go and support and to push for a ceasefire. Continuing this massacres and genocide is really unacceptable in front of the whole world. It's just killing innocent people. 70% of the people who are dying with the direct attacks are women and children. The other 30 are civilians as well. Men, old women, old. It's like even youth and girl and youth and old men. So civilians. We have seen يعني attacks, and really I'm fortunate because I was able to leave Gaza in end of April, because I have my son is a cancer patient, so he was able to travel in January with his mother, and I followed with the rest of the family. I was lucky end of April, so just before the Rafah crossing was closed. But I was not. It was not my intention to leave Gaza. I rather want to continue there, to die there, and whatever is possible. But we need ceasefire now. People are 100 casualties, 100 dead at least every day. Every single move is like account, and every person, it's a life. It's not just the numbers. Today I have received the casualties level numbers from the Ministry of Health. 41,252 persons killed, and there are other 6 or 7,000 still reported lost, either under the rubble or unknown. We have more than 91,000 injured, and these have severe injuries. More than 10,000 cancer patients need to travel abroad for treatment. So the challenges and the suffering is really يعني disastrous, and I really can't talk more about the challenges people facing there, because
Thank you, Mahmoud, for sharing this, and our solidarity with you, and also thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. There's some comments in the chat, and thanks for you. But we are approaching the end of our meeting, so Mahmoud, if you want to share, like, if you would like to share if there's a link to the report, the public report that we can
yes,
access.
we have shared it already, and I can share it again. We have it in Arabic and English as well. It's about link, but I also can share the presentation. Unfortunately, this one is really a big size. It's 16 megabyte, but I can share like the link for it also as well. So if you
Yeah.
need, I can send it to your email. Then you can distribute where whomever interested. Yeah, no problem
Would
for that.
yeah, our audience would appreciate that so much. But yeah, so we will be approaching the end. So everyone, please thank Mahmoud for speaking with us today, and sharing the report and everything else going on in Gaza. And we do have actions. We can't get it to them today, but uh, I think we have like maybe one new action. So just visit our website so that you can complete some of those actions if you haven't done already this week. So I'll put that down in the chat. And then next week we will be hearing from a Palestinian artist to talk about art and resistance. So thank you, everyone, and have a good rest of the day or evening, wherever you are.
I'm just putting my email address on the chat, and thank all of you. So if you need any information, please feel free to contact me. Take care for yourself, and thank you. Was
Thank you,
really lucky to be with you. Thank you all. Bye bye. Take care.